Hi everyone, this is Shakti Sharma coming live in the Feminine Wealth Collective. How are you doing today? Today is January 3rd. I am on 365 day live challenge and I'm just so excited to be here. Actually, I am excited to be here, but I also had a very rough emotional day today. So just wanted to share my truth. I'm just getting up from a nap here. And I wanted to be here to be with you because I definitely want to show up even on days when I don't feel good. And that is such an important part of this commitment because at this point, my work is not just a a business where I show up on a feel good day, but it's really showing up in my authentic truth on every day. And I am really trying to step into the realm of devotion, which I'm so proud of myself for being here today. Um, I want to say if you're part of this community, I love you. Thank you for being here and thank you for your presence. My intention with this 360-day live challenge is to bring you support. So not only I get to have a spectacular 2025, but you get to have it too with me and you get to feel supported in your journey no matter where you are. Today we're diving into a very special topic of feminine wealth. And I want to begin by starting to differentiate what is feminine wealth. Feminine wealth is really feeling your equal right in making money from your emotional intelligence. And this is not about your gender at all. This is not about whether you are a man or a woman, but this is about how do you make money in the world? How do you live your purpose in the world? And if you are a healer, a coach, um, you're a spiritual coach, you're into spirituality, you work with the soul, you work with, holistic, um, holistic trainings, holistic ways of healing in any ways. You work with subconscious mind, you help your clients with developing deeper emotional intelligence. You are already tapping into a feminine way of earning money. And this world is structured in a different way. This world has a bit of a disparity when it comes to earning wealth because the pendulum swings quite heavily to a masculine way of making wealth. And this way to make wealth is really keeping your emotional authority, your emotional intelligence in the front and center of everything you do. So the old paradigm of making money, which is don't worry about your feelings and do it anyway or fake it until you make it, this isn't what we're talking about. We're talking about showing up in your authenticity. We're talking about letting this be the process of ease, letting this wealth creation be the process of like fully honoring yourself and your emotional truth at all times. So I want to just go over a few things that I wrote this morning, which relates to just more broadly defining what the feminine wealth creation is. And it is really about setting very solid internal boundaries with yourself. And the reason being, in like setting these internal boundaries, that means you get to really use your discernment, your discretion in choosing how you create wealth. And this is so important because I see a lot of times where money frequency gets so jumbled up in our space, in a way that your business can be very focused on emotional intelligence, but the way you make money can be very masculine. And sometimes it is very chaotic to put our feet in two different boats because then there is a misalignment of, well, I believe in something, but I show up in another way. And the more misalignment we have, the harder it is for money to actually come into your space, for you to really create wealth. So my intention today is to share with you how you can set some of these intentional boundaries with yourself and choose feminine wealth creation if that inspires you, and choose masculine wealth creation that is very structured, that is very organized. And I'm not saying organization and structure are not needed on the feminine side, but the masculine side is very focused on the brain and the mind's ability to have the right strategy and have the right systems and create wealth that way. In the feminine way of creating wealth, your identity is everything. Who are you? Who are you being in any given moment in time as you show up in the world is everything. So the boundaries kind of look like something like this. And that is only working on things that excite and support your growth. Only working on your purpose through your business that actually does excite you. It feels so expansive when you tap into your purpose and you work on it, you bring it in your business, ground it in the 3D realm in a way that supports not only your clients to grow, but you grow with them. And it is such a deep calling. It is something that you have experienced in your life so far. Another one is doing business or setting up business in a way that actually create a life that you believe in. And the setup is so important, the structure is so important. I mean, you are definitely going to lean in on the structure and organization, but choosing a structure that excites you is a game changer. And in this way, you don't feel like, that you have to make the system work, but you choose a system that makes everything work for you, and you choose to create a life that you believe in. And one good example of that is, that comes to me is, let's say if you like to travel, how can you best create a business that allows you to travel? If you like going deep with your clients, how can you create a system that actually allows you to go deep with your clients? And that is such an important piece of the puzzle. Then choosing offers that value all that you bring to the table. And this is so important because we evolve so fast as advanced souls. I mean, there's a reason why you're in this group, and you grow so much, and your capacity to grow is actually way more than capacity that rest of the world has, right? This is the reason why you open your business, because you love the growth. And at different stages of your growth, you probably develop different skill set within you. And I want to invite you to consider offers that actually not just solve, not just like hone and tap into one aspect of you, but offers that actually tap into the wholeness of you, with the tapping and leveraging the life experiences that you have, tapping and leveraging the skill set that you develop to respond to those life situations is going to be so powerful, because then that allows you to value yourself more. That allows you to distinguish yourself more. That allows your clients to see you as the go-to person because of not only one thing that you offer. Yes, you will continue offer that one thing, but how you serve your clients is going to be an integrated part of all that you are. One example that comes to my mind is, I had a client who was who had an offer for caregivers, and this offer really supported other caregiving women in their journey. And this is the reason why this client had that offer, was she was in that journey, in that phase of time. But when we actually connected to her soul truth and her body's havingness to have more income, we realized that there's actually something bigger that she stands for. And that bigness is like really helping women find the wildness within them, the courage to do things that were impossible in their mind. And I saw how much she was lit up when we stepped away from this one thing that she was experiencing in this time, but to really take her life as a whole and start bringing in elements that she's always believed in, and she always lived her life that way. And in this way, embodying your offer is so much more easier, and it's less of a struggle to convince the world that they should work with you. And it also lights you up. It honors your life. It lights you up. It makes you feel like, wow, like, look at this. Look at what I'm offering to the world. Look how I have lived my life, and how other people can actually make use of all my learnings. And that is such an important part, because when you go about selling your offer, it becomes so much easier to sell when you believe in it 100% based on your perspective and how you have lived your life. Focusing on messaging, only messaging, the messaging that resonates in the bones of your body. It resonates so deeply with you, so that when you say things that you want to say, you believe it 100%, it just makes it so much easier for the world to believe in them. And this just helps you with standing out on social media, or when you talk to people one-on-one or in a group setting. It just helps you embody your message so deeply. And people can see, people can feel you, people want to trust you. And you showing up in embodying your message just makes it so much easier for people to trust you, and that allows them to buy things from you. Focusing on creating client experiences that are high vibrational and empowering. And this is a big one. Look, when you create programs and curriculums that empower your clients, that just becomes such an easy sell. When you focus on creating client experiences that, hone in on a level of pain maybe they carry or you carry, without like having a liberation, a way to kind of liberate that pain, it is not exciting for your clients. And this is where I want to invite you to consider, how can you create experiences that are just so high vibrational that people, when they put a step in your space, they feel it. They feel like they're being not just themselves, but an expansive part of themselves. The part that solves their own issues, their own problems. It doesn't need any rescuing. It doesn't need any level of you taking responsibility for them, but it actually empowers them. It brings them to a place where they are like, okay, I got this. I have the capacity to solve my own stuff. And all I needed to do is just to be in the proximity with this person, with you, and they have the solution. They find their own solution, because that is most empowering for them. This particular piece, the client experience you provide through your programs, through your work, is your product, right? That is what you're selling. And the more kind of high vibrational experience that is, the easier that sell is going to go. It's such a no-brainer, because people crave for empowerment. And to give you one example, I think this has to do with what you create for your people, but it also has to do how you feel while creating it. what headspace do you go in when you're creating these experiences for your clients? And one example that I have around this is um, back in the day when I had my yoga business, and I remember there was this, like, in the initial part of my journey, I was growing my business. I was trying so hard to grow my business, and it wasn't going anywhere. And I recognized, all kinds of caps I had very unconsciously put on my business. And the way I actually broke through those caps, those limits, in my business growth, is actually stepping up in my own identity of an empowered leader. And from there, I was able to create experiences that were just like, wow, I want to be there. Those type of experiences. And that included a rebranding for my business, that including redoing the schedule, redesigning the classes, just redoing the whole experience from the time a client came in, a stranger came into my world, to the point they became a client, to the point they kept coming to my yoga classes every single day. Like, each touch point, how can we make it more empowering? How can we make it more heart-centered? How can we make it an experience that a client can't forget? And that is what really brought me to my first six-figure income, is to really pay attention to what am I putting out for my clients to digest and absorb. And that was a game changer for me. So this one is huge, and it begins with you. And then going into using strategies, only strategies that feel so good in your heart, that don't feel yucky, that don't feel pushy, that don't feel like too rigid, that don't feel like, oh my gosh, what am I even doing? Like, do you wanna use strategies? If you were on the other side of the table, how would you feel if you were your own client, and how would you feel receiving those strategies? This is really what I want to share with you today. This is how you can take all what I've shared and start creating those solid internal boundaries, so that you really come to a place of feeling so lit up by your business, so lit up by your work, so lit up by your offers, so lit up by the people you work with, so lit up by the messaging you put out, so lit up by the client experiences you get to design, so lit up by the strategies that you use, that it just makes it so much easy for somebody to say, okay, I want to work with her, I want to work with him. I mean, oh my gosh, this is what I've been craving all my life, and I finally have it. And one way to hold this boundary is, if it's not a burst of heck yeah in your own space, it's a no. It's a solid no. And I know this one is so hard to hold, and a lot of us are empathic people here, and we struggle with boundaries, but this is such a really good way for you to not only step up in business growth, but you start tapping into feminine way of creating wealth. Feminine way of creating wealth is so empowering. I love it, because it just honors your whole truth. And so many of us here are quite emotional. We have emotional authority. We really work from our sacrum. We are here because we have been nudged. We receive these nudges that open up so much passion in us, that open up so much pain in us, that open up so much joy in us in creating our business. And this is the way you can actually really honor yourself fully and start tapping into the feminine wealth. This is what I had to share today. And again, if you happen to catch this live, do say hello. Let me know you're here. Let me know how these words resonated with you. Is that helpful for you to hear? Is that something you want to commit to at this point? And how can you commit to it? How can you keep this in the front and center of your everyday life, so that you get to tap into more and more wealth? Let me know. because when you start tapping into it, there's no limit to what you can manifest. And then strategies work for you. Strategies become easy, not draining. Strategies become like part of what you want to accomplish and create, and that feels so good in the body. And wealth has such an easier time coming into you because you feel the joy of creation. Let me know how this resonates with you, and how can you establish these boundaries more clearly in your life? What action step can you take to really keep committing to the feminine wealth creation process? I do have a very special experience coming up on January on January 8th, the Eye of the Storm, and this is an experience to help you elevate your leadership and your power, especially in times when you feel utter chaos. When you feel chaos in your business, in your life, and you feel like, oh my gosh, what do I do and how do I come back to me? This is the experience to help you do that, so that you keep deepening in your power to not only hold these internal boundaries, but keep bringing more income, more clients, more growth, more excitement in your business. The link to join that experience is in the links. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm here to answer questions. I will be live again tomorrow, and I am looking at exciting topics every day to bring to you. And if you have any suggestions for topics, something that you can personally benefit from, let me know. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Sending you lots of love, and hope you have an amazing rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.